Welcome back to the Charles Carroll Society Show. I'm your host, the Bard of the American Redoubt, broadcasting live or broadcasting from deep within the American Redoubt in Rocky Mountains. Today it's getting pretty chilly up here. We've had actually a very moderate winter in the Redoubt in general. We were looking at just a couple of weeks ago going, wow, this is most moderate. But then we had a cold snap and let me tell you, that got old. And so it's kind of so cold that, it's getting down below 20. We have the chickens in a coop and it's probably time to bring a light out there, a heat lamp out there. But generally, if they're in an enclosed coop, a small enclosed coop, they're generally pretty good. They're not in the big chicken tractor. So I'm your host. Today, we're going to talk about the Florida shooting, and I'm going to give you some information that you are just not getting anywhere, and some things that we as patriots need to really think about and understand and plan on. So that's what we're going to be talking about right now. So by the way, if you're just finding us, it's great. Please, thank you so much for stopping by, and please hit that like and subscribe button and take a look. So this school shooting, a kid walked in. He used to go to the school. Hopefully you guys have the basics, but he went to, just to restate for anyone who doesn't have the basics. Some people wrote me and said, no, Alex, I depend upon you to let me know about what's going on in the world, since I generally don't have time nor the inclination to read all the horrid stories. But basically, a kid who was expelled from the school because of disciplinary issues came back to the school, months later. He was 18 at the time. You can buy rifles at 18. He came back to the school dressed as a student at the school, so he knew kind of what they wear. And he kind of snuck at a gate that he knew. He came in at a time when he knew that they would be unlocking the gates, because they often keep all the gates locked. And so he knew that they would be unlocking the gates, preparing for all the kids to leave. He snuck in a stairwell. He was carrying an AR-15 style rifle. At least I know that weapon. I don't know if he had a handgun as a backup, but he was carrying that weapon. And he went into a stairwell. He unpacked his rifle, got set up, came out, and this kid got a little smarter than the rest of the demon-infested people who normally run around and murder people for no reason. He pulled the fire alarm. And this caused everybody, to follow their training, because he had gone to the school, so he knew their training. People said, hey, it's time to go. He waited for the hallway to fill up, and he came out blazing. And that's why one of the reasons why his murder count was so high. 17 innocent American children dead because of the actions of a maniac. So funny, when someone has an abortion, most people don't blame the abortion doctor. It's like, that's their choice or whatever. They don't blame the chemicals. RU-45 is murdering people. When the terrorists use the planes, they don't blame the planes. They blame the person. But when there's guns, they want. So let's state a couple of facts for you. The right for you to have whatever weapon you need to protect yourself, your family, and your property is your God-given right. This God-given right, given by our Creator, given because you are a human, because you are a Christian man, because you are a sane individual. You are a human. You have the right to protect yourself. And if you have the right to protect yourself, you have the right to use whatever tools you think are effective at protecting yourself. Most people don't understand, and the NRA doesn't teach people this, because they're groups of people who take a look at this issue, and their focus groups that probably says it doesn't sell. But the Second Amendment has nothing about hunting. It actually has nothing about personal protection. The Second Amendment was put into the Constitution because the people who just had successfully rebelled against their government never wanted again that the government could restrict the arms that people could carry. When the British are coming, the British are coming. Does anybody know why the British was coming? The British were coming. They had already put an embargo upon the people that would become Americans, and tried to restrict their ability to buy ammunition, at that time called powder. And the British were coming to the colony, one specific city, to seize their powder. And at the time, that powder was kept in these things, these structure, because it was unstable. So they kept it outside of town. So the British knew exactly where you were keeping your ammunition, and they were coming to seize it. That's why we started. That's the last straw, not the only reason, but that was the last straw of the people who decided that we've had enough. The Supreme Court of the United States has made so many terrible decisions. Obviously the thing with the Japanese and the internment, the decision where they said that Black people could never become citizens, have any rights. They're the ones that enshrined separate could be equal before they overturned it, 100 years later. So the Supreme Court of the United States has gotten this wrong many times. They're the ones that supported Obamacare, which said that suddenly the government could force you to participate in commerce. The Supreme Court is the one who has said that the interstate commerce clause can be used for the federal government to come down on my property and tell me what and how much anything I can grow. They've allowed that. So the Supreme Court of the United States has, in this case, in modern time, has refused to defend the Constitution on so many times, on so many occasions. And in this case, they're refusing to defend the Second Amendment. Specifically, they are saying they will not defend shall not be infringed. When they did the Heller case, they refused to say what that meant. They refused to even define that your right to have whatever weapons you need shall not be infringed. So some of you have come and said, well, Bard, why do these people care about what guns they have? I haven't heard anyone on YouTube or the internet or anyway explain to you why these people are so focused on your weapons, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Your weapons are sitting right over there, okay, in the closet. Why are they caring? The people who want to disarm you are led by people who are cowards. By the way, which is majority of people. The majority of people are cowards. They will not kill to defend themselves, or they at least don't want to be placed in a situation where they're killing. They're unwilling to be placed in a situation where they're killing people to defend themselves, their families, and their property. And they probably are unwilling to do it. These are the people who are sitting at home and they hear a bumping downstairs and they're looking around, calling 911. They don't even want to go downstairs to secure their own home. These people are cowards. Cowards hate brave men because it's a mirror that shows their cowardness. They hate that you are willing to kill to protect yourself, your family, and your property. They hate you. That's why they want to disarm you, because they hate that you're willing to do what they're unwilling to do. Simple fact. The FBI in this case had failed multiple times. People keep saying, oh, the FBI, they said they're sorry. Oh, they failed this. No. They failed multiple times. They go, see something, say something. What's the use of seeing something and saying something if then the law enforcement doesn't do anything about it? There was a report on YouTube for this kid who posted on YouTube something to the effect of saying, I want to be a professional school shooter. Some person saw that and said, that's crazy, and called the FBI. The FBI sent 2 agents out to this guy's house and said, do you know this guy? And he's like, no, it's just YouTube. I saw this comment and it's just crazy. You know what the FBI did? Nothing. I think that was in Mississippi. They didn't even transfer that information to the local case. They claimed that they couldn't find it. Now remember this, 4chan, who it does have a lot of alt-right guys, and they have probably a lot of normal guys too, but 4chan is just Billy cool. I mean, not Billy cool, of course. We're terrible. Never say that, because they're going to put that out there. Oh, no, you guys are horrible. But they are brilliant. I mean, they troll the world all the time. And 4chan can find a flag flying by some progressive who hates Trump by watching the aircraft that fly above that flag. And the FBI couldn't find even the neighborhood where a YouTube commenter posted that he wanted to kill a lot of people in a school when he posted under his real name. Yes, you heard that right. He posted under his real name, I want to shoot up a school. I can't wait to become a professional school shooter. He used his real name. Did the FBI contact YouTube? Are they saying, yes, we contacted YouTube and look for the IP address? That IP address, like tell you about in other cases, that IP address will give you a person's general geographical location and his cable provider. So they could have said, that guy's coming from probably this area. That's his cable provider. And he's look up this name. Look up this name. Did the FBI do that? No, they didn't. But now they've got to impact all law-abiding gun owners. Did the FBI transfer that information down to the sheriff department? No, they didn't. Did the FBI reach out to YouTube themselves? No, to the best of our knowledge, they didn't. Come to find out, the local sheriffs were called over 20, some reports are 30 times to this kid's house. He was shooting his neighbor's animals. He was being violent, pointing weapons at people. Did they ever try to grab him on a 24-hour psych hole? Did they ever attempt to try him? Did they ever attempt to charge him? No, no, no. But the solution to all this is not to fix the FBI, not to fix the sheriff, is to take your guns. That's the future. That's the solution. This was a complete failure in all time. The last case that was happening for this kid, and I'm not using his name because I really don't like to give these evil people too much credit. So I think they're infamous. So it should just be whack job number 17. That's all he should be called, right? Whack job number 17, because there's always another whack job. And so this guy, somebody in his close group of friends actually called the FBI less than 4 weeks before he went and shot up the school and said, this guy has gone out and bought some new weapons. This guy is cutting himself. This guy is seriously is disturbed. He's destructive. He's threatening people. And he has said he wanted to shoot up a school. Did the FBI even come to his house to investigate? No can do. But the answer is to take law-abiding gun owners' guns. That's the answer. That's the answer they want out there. Those who want to disarm you have actually started trying out a new tactic. And I'm a person who looks at these kind of things and says, this is to me, fairly impressive. To watch these people make up their new tactics is fairly impressive. And the new tactic they had, so they tried all kind of things. They had the little short, fat little mayor from New York who runs around with 24 hours, 7 days a week, armed security for him, but not for you. The coastal elites, they get all the guns, they get all the weapons, and they flood your town full of people who are not from here, and they want to disarm you. 100%, that's what they're doing. Oh, that's not what it is. Well, that's what they're doing. That is what they're doing. So he tried to do this. He did mayors against guns. He tried to get basically buy off the minority mayors, and half of those guys went to jail for all kind of stuff. So when he couldn't get all the mayors together and get this thing to disarm Americans, then he started doing moms against guns. He did some kind of progressive groups of really angry feminists running around telling men that you need to disarm. Now, why? Because you come down to the bar of the American data. I give you the truth. Stuff that you're not getting anywhere else. The concept is because they are cowards. This often happens with evil feminist, third wave feminists, not first wave or second wave, but third wave feminist women. They are cowards. And so this guy says, no, you know what we're going to do? So he tried the moms things. Oh, moms and my kids. Well, that didn't seem to pan out. So what these guys have apparently done is they've formed a task force. They've gotten ready, and they said the next school shooting, what we're going to do is rush down to that school shooting thing, and we're going to find the things, and we're going to put kids on there because, hey, who could say the kids are wrong? They just went through this terrible thing. So they found Democratic families. They found Democratic and progressive anti-gun families that have kids in that school. And they said, we'll put a mic in your hand. And that's what they're doing. As a gray ops means that there is between those who hate Christianity, hate Western civilization, and hate individual liberty, including gun rights, there is a war. But it's not a shooting war, which most people are preparing for. It's the step between politics of normal, hey, let's get together and figure something out, like put resource officers in there, and actually throwing all of us in boxcars. Okay, there's a difference between the socialist destruction that always comes from progressive socialist policies and peace and everybody's just working together. We're in that gray area. In that gray area, they do gray ops like this. Some people put some money. Trust you me, you didn't put 5 kids, good-looking kids, sharp kids, all shaved up, speaking the same thing on Chris Wallace on Fox News. Now all the people who are kind of lean conservative, they don't have to tell you that they want to disarm you. They just have to give a platform to the kids, to the kids. Remember, how do they take your rights? It's always the women or the children, right? It's for the children. You got to say it like Michael Jackson. It's for the children. Look at the children. The children say, we got to take your guns and that'll make us safe. The children. That's what they're saying. That's literally what they only got 2 plays. They don't have a play. But that's a brilliant play. To organize that so quickly, guarantee you, just like they found out Soros is spending millions of dollars in Britain trying to stop Brexit, guarantee you the people behind this are spending millions. They have come up a new plan. They got a bunch of PhD guys who studied this. And what do you got? Me. Pudding. So share this video. Make sure people hear it. That's what it is. Okay? We got us, Patriot Media, right-wing media. That's all we've got. This is what we got. The truth of the matter is that the NRA has a thing called the National School Shield Program, and progressive schools refuse to use it because it says NRA. They've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. They've got all these security experts. They've got training for local law enforcement. So you can call the local law enforcement. A school can call the local sheriff, especially people who've gone through this training. They'll come to your school. They'll help you develop an entire plan. They'll tell you where you're weak, and then you can get a part of the plan from the NRA. It's like a template, I assume. It appears, and they put out the plan, and boom, there you got it. Okay, and they will tell you. And by the way, as you would expect, how you secure a school is pretty simple. Not simple, but there are knowns. There are still unknowns. You can't get to those things that we don't know, but there's a lot of things you can do to reduce your risk. You're not going to be someone who is ever going to be making things perfect. I tell people it's not a safe. You're not building a gun safe around the school. What you're doing is you're putting a seatbelt on, but it's ignorant not to ride with a seatbelt. You're reducing your risk. And one of the things is to have the armed person inside, period. You have to have an armed resource officer at that school because the average police response coded out is between 5 to 10 minutes. 5 is very aggressive. They hear that, they're going to come blazing. 5 minutes, but generally the school shooting is over in 3 minutes. So unless you have an armed person running directly toward that shooter to protect your kids, you're not doing all you can to protect that school. That's it. That's one of the core things, is an armed resource train. Because one, training to shoot guns, as most of you guys know, not the simplest thing. Training to shoot guns, what I call under stress, on the 2-way range, we all train on the 1-way range. But when those buzzing bees are coming back at you under stress, that's a whole nother level of the game. And then training to shoot in a stressful situation around a bunch of screaming crazy civilians, that takes training. But training is possible. You can train. You can get police officers. You can get veterans. You can train up normal people, okay? Because you can. So that's part of it. But they also have a whole bunch of other parts, removing things that can explode, mostly controlling egress and egress to the kids, making sure they have to buzz you in to lock stuff, whatever you need to do. There are methodologies they have. So one of the first things Patriot can ask is, has this school implemented the NRA National School Shield Program? That's one of the first things you can do. Just easy peasy, no problem, done. Have they done it? You know what their answer is going to be? Nope. Because they refuse it. So that's one of the first things you can respond. So let's hear, I think I found a video where, I don't know how to exactly paste this in, but let me see if I can get this. And I'll try to give you a video here where you can actually see the NRA National School Shield Program. And I don't understand why the NRA doesn't lead with this or put this out more information. So let's see if I can find that for you.
The NRA, over the course of its existence, has been very good at providing training, safety training for hunters and shooters, technical training for competitive shooters and the like. And we decided to take that strength, translate it into what local schools needed. We developed what we now call School Shield. And what we do now is we fielded a team of experts whose job it is to train others so that they can go out in their localities and in their states with accreditation and assess schools that need assessment and make suggestions as to how they can make the educational experience safer for our children. An assessment of this scope on the open market might cost $10,000 to $15,000. The NRA provides that free to schools that need it, because the schools that need it most are not schools that are the most affluent. They're not schools that can afford these things. They're schools that don't have the funds to spend that kind of money just to find out what they need to do and then raise the money to do it. So what we're trying to do is help schools provide the kind of security that their students deserve. Once an assessment is done, then a school can apply to the School Shield Foundation in the NRA for a grant. We've done this quietly, not without a lot of fanfare, because that's not what it's about. What it's really about is protecting our children.
The last thing I can share with you guys is that it's my strong opinion that the NRA and even more strong organizations, kind of like the GOA, Gun Owners of America, they have to catch up to this new vector. They have to. They've done a good job of defending our rights against socialists who hid behind the New York mayor, who hid behind the mayors for guns, who hid behind the moms for guns. But in my opinion, they've got kind of caught flat-footed with this new vector of, hey, we'll just run down there and grab a bunch of kids, pull them on TV and say, hey, please take their guns because I feel safer if the people in Idaho don't have guns. Okay? I truly believe that the patriots down in Florida in this area should get households of their own, find NRA households down there, find GOA households down there, find kids who are articulate, good looking, get them all shaved up, and have the counter protest. Have the speaking. Oh, you want to speak? Ask to speak in white. When they can't, you put another kids together, say, look, I'm 18 years old and I'm happy that these old graybeards like myself have been defending our individual rights, and I'm ready to step up and step to it and take up the mantle. You're not taking my guns when I can buy them because these kids are small. So we have to quickly, you know, what's the Marines say? What is that? Adapt and overcome, something like that. I forget. Adapt, improvise, and overcome. And we have to do it quickly, but we're really good at that part. We're very good at improvising, adapting, and overcoming. So that's what we need to do. Patriots should move this quickly down there. If they're going to have a rally, have a counter rally, have people speak at the rally and speak in defense. The concept is, hey, why did the FBI screw up on here? Maybe we should focus on that. Why did the sheriff screw up on that? Maybe we should have. Always, we tell them, enforce the gun laws correctly. The NIST database, I saw one of the people on PBS or NBC or MSNBC or whatever. She was like, oh, Florida doesn't have a database for people to be that aren't supposed to have guns. Look, little sister, no, Florida doesn't. Most states don't. You know why? Because Florida doesn't want to put you in a database in Florida, say you can't buy a gun, and you just walk across the street to Georgia and buy a gun. The database to keep you from buying guns is a federal database called the NIST database. And guess who manages that? The FBI. So the FBI, don't tell me that the current laws are inefficient at keeping crazy guns out of crazy people's hands when the FBI did nothing. If the FBI had gone 20 times to a judge to try to say, hey, you know what, I would take this kid's guns away because he's a whack job, then we could go look at, well, why did that happen? We can take a look at that. But don't come to us and tell us that we need new laws when you didn't even try to use the laws that you have. Show me where you did. Show me where the sheriff did. Show me where that sheriff did. And you can't. But taking lawmakers. Remember, this is a version of laziness for law enforcement regulators. For them to go run around the southwest border, let me tell you, guns are pouring across that both ways. Guns, cash, drugs. That's hard work. ICE, Border Patrol down there doing hard work running around the middle of the desert. You know, the federal agents running around inner city. Why is the ATF running around in Idaho and Wyoming and wherever? Why aren't they in inner cities where massive gun deaths are happening every day? Why isn't the ATF just redeployed down to Chicago? Because chasing guys with 22 caliber handguns is hard work. Much easier to pass a law to make you a criminal. Gun stores have to register. They're FELs. They're the ones that are getting here and doing this and doing that. They have to come. So it's much easier to make criminals out of people we can find and easy than actually go out and do hard work. These people have cooperated, and it doesn't matter what their intent is. That's a liberal thing. I'm looking at the evidence of what is happening. And what is happening is there is an alliance of between some people in law enforcement, nearly all the media, 100% the progressive media, and huge globalists, basically international power brokers who are committed to disarming you. And it just happens to be that many of these same people are committed to open societies without borders. Never give up your guns. People in California, you've got to get out of there while the getting is good. You've got to get out of there. The Patriots, I'm sorry. Yes, it is a sacrifice, but your ancestors came across the Atlantic Ocean in an open boat. And now you're like, oh, I can't move from California to Arizona. And we are not going to do this. So the Patriots in Florida, this is my call. This is in your AOR. There's some guys, the readouters who know this stuff, who are outside the wire down there. You got to get active, get moving, get the kids, shave them up, make sure they're good, and then tell the other side of the story. Resource officers are a good guy with a gun is the only way you are going to stop a bad guy with a gun. You cannot seize all of the millions and millions of guns in these United States. The FBI screwed up another one. There's a William Atkinson's over in Arizona, where this guy went in and shot up. He put out a post. The FBI came to his house. The post says, "I want to shoot up the school." Did the FBI do anything? Did the FBI actually make it? This William Atkinson, Aztec High School. He's the one who came in and shot people. He shot people with a semi-automatic Glock handgun. Are we going to get rid of all the black rifles because you don't like black rifles? Are we going to get rid of the black rifles and the black handguns because you don't like black handguns? So remember, these people have been trained. The kids you're hearing on TV have been trained or at least briefed. Call for gun control. Don't be specific. We'll get there. We'll let that handle. Just call for something to be done. Get the match. And it's almost they're looking at, in my opinion, the passionate, the people who react well to passion. They're trying to get it done. Let's do something. And we are doing something. First thing we need to do is fire some people. I don't think the chief of the FBI needs to be fired. Maybe he does. Maybe the governor of Florida knows something. But the guy who runs the Miami Bureau who didn't follow up, and the guy who runs the Mississippi Bureau who didn't follow up, they should go. They certainly should go. No calls. All the ways back to your AR-15 sitting in your closet is the problem. Get going. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please hit that like button, subscribe button, share it with your friends and family. And truly, this is a fight, and realize that it's not a shooting war, but this is not politics as normal. We've got to get ourselves together and understand this is an information warfare campaign being waged upon the American people, and we need to get to respond to this. I'm your host, the Bard of American Redoubt. See you next time I get online, and thank you guys very much for stopping by.